Hey, it's Nikki Thompson, and you're listening to Tea with Nikki, embracing your sexual energy. And today on the podcast, I'm going to be talking about how you can plan, intertwine the feminine and the masculine energy into planning out your days, your weeks, your months, etc. And this is a topic I get requested about quite frequently in my free group. So if you haven't already joined in, I have a free Facebook group where we continue the conversation from the podcast. We run free challenges. We talk about free masterclasses that I have in there. So I would love for you to come and join into the free Facebook group. The link will be in the show notes as well. So when we're talking about intertwining the masculine and the feminine into helping us plan out our day, our week, our month, our year, it's really important to understand what I mean about the feminine and the masculine energies. So in terms of sexual energy, which is what I always am talking about, that's when I'm referring to the feminine energy. It is really free flowing. It's kind of getting in touch with our creativity. I mean, our sexual energy is our creative energy. That's essentially our sexual organs is what creates life. It's just incredible. And this is how we can start to create amazing things in our life as well. We need to be able to unlock that entire space, that entire energy, which often a lot of people have locked down based on fear from, negative beliefs that they've had. They've got their own shame around sexual energy. And when we've got it all locked down, we tend to stay in the masculine energy. Even as women, we have both masculine and feminine energies. We tend to stay in the masculine more so when we can kind of have this feminine sexual energy locked down out of protection of self. So when I'm talking about how do we plan our days, our weeks, our year, intertwining both of these energies, it's a unique process. I mean, there's lots of people out there talking about it. What I've found, though, is that either people are super masculine when it comes to planning. Get this planner, do this, brainstorm these ideas, lock them in, break them down, give them deadlines, the SMART goals, all that stuff. And that's cool. But that's very, very masculine, do, right? Then you've got those that are focused purely on the feminine. It's just feel into it. How does it feel? How does, listen to your intuition, wake that intuition up through meditation, or my favorite is self-pleasure practices. How do we open up that intuition channel so we can hear her? And how do we create a practice where we're actively hearing her and taking action, which is what I spoke about last week on the podcast, where we need to have the courage to take action from what our intuition is telling us. So I urge you to go listen to that if that's an area that you kind of get a bit stuck in. So when we start to look at the planning side, how can we, if we're very in the feminine or that creative space and just feeling into it, quite often shit doesn't get done. We're all in the feeling space and not in the doing. But if we're in the masculine, the doing space of planning, can stress the crap out of me. Makes me burnt out. And so how I intertwine it is there are a number of ways. And I actually have a live program called the Vibe Program, which I think would have run by the time this episode's coming out. But if you want to get access to that program, the recorded version, just send me a message and I will get you access to that. In that program, we've gone 3 full days of talking about this, 3 training sessions about this whole topic. And it's, we need to focus on a balance of both of them in order to feel what we want to do and then also plan it to get done. So what that looks like for me is that throughout the week, I use a range of tools. I love my calendar, which is my digital calendar on my phone and my iPad and my laptop. It's all connected, and I love to use that. I also use Asana, which is a planning tool. And with Asana, I have it set up so that I can post just put in tasks as they come to mind. So what I like to do is there's obvious tasks that I need to get done. I need to I need to make certain calls. I need to book appointments. I need to do client calls. I need to do coaching programs. I need to do social media stuff. All of those things that make up what I do for my business, what I do for running a family, for running a household. And then what I do is I have all of that list there. And often I add appointments as they come up into my calendar as well. And then every Sunday afternoon, I sit down, I spend probably half an hour, and I look at my calendar and I feel into it. And often I will pick a context for the week. It's like, how do I want to feel this week? So last week, my context was be in alignment. That was my context for the week. Now, that might not make any sense to you. It might. You might want to use it this week. It's up to you. But just sit into it and trust that you'll feel something. Trust that you will be like, okay, maybe you've had a really, really full-on week. You're like, I want to feel some peace this week. Or I want to feel organized this week. Or I want to feel healthy this week. I want to feel rested. Whatever is coming up for you. That is your context for the week. And in knowing that context, now we look at the calendar and think, is this reflecting this context of how I want to feel this week? Now, other practices I do include making sure I've got extra space through my week. So I try not to add too many appointments all in one day, especially days when my daughter's home with me. I like to just do one core thing going out, because otherwise she just doesn't like sitting in the car all day, which I don't blame her. And also I don't do many calls or anything while she's home with me during the day. So I look at that. I look at what, my core work days, how busy are they? How late are they? Sometimes I have calls of an evening. And I feel into all of it. Now, I'm a woman who honors her word. So if I've made an appointment that is with a client or is a really, really essential appointment, I'm not going to shift it because I don't feel like doing it. What I do is I actually look at, okay, what is around it? Can I add in, for example, this week, I want to get my eyebrows waxed. I love it when I get them shaped. That makes me feel good. And it's also quite relaxing for me because it's just a little bit of pampering. And I'll incorporate that into a space that obviously don't need to be on video straight after, but also where I might be feeling I need a little bit of downtime, disconnected time. So I'd incorporate that. Or I might just add in an extra hour at lunchtime to do nothing, absolutely nothing, and that's okay. Because so for example, right now I have my period. And at the start of my period, I like to slow shit down. I like to have a bit more space at lunchtime. I know I want to go to bed earlier. I don't want to be doing a huge amount of driving around. I like to slow down because for me, especially the first few days, can be quite heavy, and I don't want to be trying to have to be at all these appointments. So I honor my cycle, and I'm very grateful that I'm in a place that I can do that with my work. That's not always been possible for me, especially when I was in a job. Like I can't just be like, look, my cycle has started. I cannot attend today's team meeting. It doesn't work like that. So again, if you're able to, work out what you can and cannot shift. Work out where you can add more space. Work out what you can do. If you've got young children at home, obviously that's a different stage of life. What can you shift? Don't think about, oh, but Nikki's doing this and oh, I wish I could do that. No. Let's go to a space of where are you right now? What can you change? What can you do in order to feel more aligned to that context you've set for this week? And this is just how I just a regular practice. This is just comes naturally to me now. And this is a really important thing. So again, if you do want to learn more about this, just send me a message and I can put the recorded the Vibe program. I can put the recorded version available as a short program if you would like to have access to that. Because I really feel as though this is an important way of planning moving forward, is there's different parts that we can honor in our feminine energy, but also in the container of the masculine energy of actually getting shit done. Like, just because I have my period doesn't mean I just go and hibernate for a week. No, but it does mean that I want to slow down a bit. And I'm also a little, for me personally, and you need to understand your own cycle, and you might not be on a cycle. You might have gone through menopause, or you might not have a uterus. You might be pregnant. You might be on the pill, whatever your situation is. But honor your own feeling of that, how are you feeling that week? Honor your own need for space, or perhaps you need more social interaction. I'm such an introvert, so for me to recharge, I need space. But for my son, for example, he's an extrovert. For him to recharge, he needs people. He needs to be doing stuff, and that recharges him. And so what do you need to recharge? Just because other people relax by getting a massage, you might relax by going out for lunch with a heap of people. That might be amazing and recharging for you. You need to, again, honor what works for you. And then you've got this beautiful week ahead of you that you can look forward to, that you've incorporated ways that you can recharge. You've incorporated ways that you can be in full alignment to what you really enjoy. And I'm in saying that, it doesn't mean that you don't ever do any shit you don't like. That's not true at all. But it means that when you're doing the stuff that is harder for you to do, you also have something perhaps later that evening to look forward to. Or you set yourself up with a beautiful morning, or whatever it is. And especially when you've got younger children. Now, I've been through that phase. I was there for about 10 years. And my daughter, my youngest is 4 now, 4.5, or just over 4, whatever it is. She's 4, she tells me regularly. So I'm in a place now where I can get some regular sleep every night, where they're not attached to me. And so in the place where I was, where they were attached to me, some of the solutions I wish I had have done was to slow the fuck down and not expect that I needed to get all of this stuff done all of the time, not to book more than one appointment in a day. That's just a no-go with young kids. Just don't book more than one appointment in a day. Book it in outside of their nap times. Book it in, if you have to go to the store, get stuff on the way or the way home, so you're not having to constantly go out. Be a bit more organized when it comes to food, so you're not just binging on crap snacks, eating all the kids' snacky foods just because you haven't been able to buy any groceries this week. Find ways that can make it simple for you, but also to be organized. So it really depends on what stage of life you're at, who's dependent on you. You could be, for me, the kids are with their dad every second weekend. That weekend I recharge. I love it. I make sure I go to the beach, or I go for a bushwalk, or I might go, Ollie might come over and we'll do like the high ropes course, or we'll go to a day spa, but we spend some quality time together, as well as I spend time to relax. I love learning, so I'll make sure I do time like learning in a course I'm doing, or maybe I'm going to spend time to read a book. But we've made it work so that we get quality time together. He's obsessed with footy, so he's going to watch that. And then I know I'm going to be able to have time to do my journaling or whatever I want to do. And we also have great sex, and that's all part of it. So what is it that you need in order to recharge, and how can you organize that, incorporate that into your week? So anyway, I'm not going to go into more detail than that right now, because I feel like we've gone quite in depth, but I would love to know if you could send me a message. What kind of components do you like or would be your dream week? What kind of things do you need to listen to? Is it your cycle? Is it you're an introvert, so you need some downtime? You need more relaxation time. You need more time with your partner, or you need more time with your friends. Or what is it that you need to kind of have more of, that you can start to incorporate from this week or next week if you've already organised this week already? What could you start to incorporate from next week that's going to honour that feminine, masculine energy in terms of your planning to really create such a beautiful week for you? All right. I hope you have the most epic week this week and next week, especially when you're all organised. And I will chat to you next week. Don't forget, every Wednesday we have our featured interviews. Now, I said every Wednesday, but that's actually incorrect. We do most Wednesdays. We have guests on, and if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please reach out, Nikki at nikkithompson.com, so NICKY at nikkithompson.com, and let me know, and I can book in a time so we can chat and do a little interview for the podcast. All right, now I'm going to go and have some lunch, so I hope you have the most epic day, and I will talk to you next week.